Off the Field with the HBC, presented by Chick-fil-A. Visit our locations on Forest Drive and Two Notch Road. When you tailgate, punt the burger. Ask the chicken. Keenan Suggs. Insurance, risk management, employee benefits. We know what you need to know. And by James W. Smith Real Estate at the beach. Ask about our Gamecock off-season special.
Coach, you know, I know there are kids I call magnet kids. I think for your program, Stephon Gilmore was the first. Kids wanted to play with Stephon. Then kids wanted to play with Marcus. Kids wanted to play with Jadavion. I want to believe that that now Pharaoh Cooper is kind of that kid that a lot of kids want to play with.
He's certainly a young man you can relate to. Pharaoh is just a wonderful player, wonderful person. And he's what we call low maintenance. He doesn't get in trouble. He goes to class, does everything you ask him to do. A lot like Stephon Gilmore and Marcus. Yeah, they have a lot of the same qualities.
Good kids. And then the other question I was thinking about, I remember like the second summer you were here. I went out in July. I think you had a camp, and I was talking to Steve Jr. And we had like 3 commitments at that time, you know. And I'm going, you know what, you know. And Stevie looked at me and said, "It's a long time to February." But now, by the end of the summer, you know, most classes are pretty much done. What changed, Coach?
I don't know exactly what changed it, except the high school kids decided they want to start committing earlier. And what's happened, they do their own visiting. They go on their own to all the schools they're interested in. Their parents either take them or maybe their high school coach drives them around during the summer. So they get a good view of the schools that they're interested in. And then they make their commitment, make their decision in the summer. Now, some of them change their mind, but we've been very fortunate that most all of our players have stuck with us that commit during the summer. And so it started, and then now if you're a high school player, everybody else is committing. You know, I don't want to get left out, so they most all of them do decide during the summer.
Social media play a part in that, the way it's changed, do you think at all? Or, you know, kids talking more about with other kids?
Well, it could be. It could be, because these kids, they all know where the other kids are going, and they keep up with each other and get to know each other. So it is interesting that so many of these high school players all over the South get to know the other recruited players also.
We had an absolute blast at the CarQuest honoring the dinner the other night at Seawell's, and you know, one of the things that really stuck out to me was how much they mentioned your wife and the role that she has in that. And I don't think people realize how much she does behind the scenes. You know, how much does that mean to you as the head coach?
Yeah, Jerry and Libby Ann Anabinette, I think, sort of put together that function, and they asked me about it, and I said, sure, we need to get those players back, and we need to honor them. The first bowl championship in school history, that 1994 team. So I saw several of them, Steve Tannehill in particular, and they all were very appreciative that we were able to bring them back and honor them. So that was neat. Unfortunately, the game didn't end up the way we had hoped, but honoring those players from the '94 team was a special occasion.
Yeah, and I know that 80 of them came back, and Coach Tanner at the dinner mentioned that if you brought back the team from last year, 80 wouldn't come back. What does it mean to you, you know, as the head coach of this football program, that so many players are buying into what your current team's doing?
Well, as a coach, I always try to tell our team we're trying to create memories of a lifetime. And as you know, the 1989 Duke team that won the ACC, we've had a 5-year reunion every 5 years, and this past year we had our 25th reunion. And I mentioned, I think our '89 team has grown because so many players came back. We had 75 or 80 players come back, and I didn't know all of them. I knew the ones that played, but it seemed like all the walk-on kids and the freshmen from that year and players that were just part of the team. And as you know, we have at least about 100 players on every team every year, and maybe 45, 55 play. But we had a strong contingent of players return for that, and it was neat to see the '94 team. So many of just about all their players came back.
Yeah, and you know, game day was here. Obviously, as you mentioned, it wasn't the ending that you would have liked. But you know, Kenny Chesney was here. You know, last time was Darius Rucker. You seem to really have a passion for music. Kind of talk about your relationships with some of these people.
Well, I got to know Kenny when he did the concert here at Colonial. Got to know him a little bit, and actually I met him in 2005, right before the Tennessee game. Their equipment manager and our equipment manager, Matlock, are good buddies. And Matlock said, Kenny Chesney's going to be at the game, wants to say hello to you. And I said, tell him 1 hour before the game I'll be out there on the field, come on down. So I met him then, and we're both from East Tennessee. And he loves sports, and he played wide receiver in high school, number 7 out there at, I think he went to Gibbs High School there in the Knoxville area. So he has a strong friendship with so many coaches all over the country, NFL coaches as well as college coaches. And Kenny loves sports, and of course he loves country music, and he's one of the very best at it.
You know, obviously, you know, it's a regrouping week for you as a team. How does your role change as a head coach in weeks like this?
Well, I've always believed when things are going well, you got to be tough on your guys. When they're not going so well, you lighten up a little bit. So we're just trying to get the enthusiasm back up this week. We're not yelling and screaming at anybody. Obviously, it was a game that all of our little minor errors, all of a sudden they show up when you lose a game. We've had these kind of minor errors and stuff before. And if you don't lose a game, well, it's no big deal. You know, we lined up offside. Our defense, one of our defensive kids lined up offside when we got the interception, and they went and scored after that. 3 times on 3rd and 1, we had a penalty, 3 times. The other team's line shifted a little bit and got us twice. And then another time we had a quarterback sneak. We didn't get lined up in time. So there was a lot of little things that maybe could have changed the outcome, but it's history now, and we got to learn from it and try to move on.
Solved your kickoff problem.
Zach Samaglia,
yes.
Yeah, this young man can kick it a long way, and Coach Joe Robinson, after Landon kicked one out of bounds there to open it up, he decided to give him a shot, and he kicked 3 out of 4 all the way through the end zone.
And that's a story that's pretty unique, coming from North Carolina A&T, going to technical college, and then now kicking for South Carolina. That's kind of surreal.
Yeah. He came on his own, and he's another walk-on player, and it's neat to see so many players want to come to South Carolina now and walk on, pay their own way.
Well, I appreciate your time, Coach.
All right, Brian, good talking to you guys.
Off the Field with the HBC was presented by Chick-fil-A. Visit our locations on Forest Drive and Two Notch Road. When you tailgate, punt the burger, pass the chicken. Keenan Suggs, insurance, risk management, employee benefits. We know what you need to know. And by James W. Smith Real Estate at the beach. Ask about our Gamecock off-season special.